Happy Feel Good Friday, everybody. It is one of our favorite pods of the year, the second Game of the Year draft. Joseph, I'm telling you, I know you got the results from last year pulled up. We have so much to go through today. We're going to create the narratives. We're going to hit the homers. Let's do it, Joseph, with that theme. Again, we're geared up, boys. We got a full 3 squadron over here in the hot box corner. Greg, welcome back today, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back in the foundation for what may be the final time.
Oh, no.
Nah. Well, who knows?
We don't know yet.
Who knows?
If anybody has an awesome space they'd like to give us for free, we're still taking it. If not, we'll be moving to young Drew's house.
Oh man, my 1960s 3-story is not ready, but we'll get it ready. We'll get it there, and we'll get it ready for nights just like these. Man, I am so excited, and I just thought about what I'm going to be doing during all of these games that I picked, and even some of the ones I didn't pick. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch that one. I'm going to ignore all my responsibilities. Let's do it.
Saturdays are back, boys. But the man who's bringing this all home for us today, the guy that created this wonderful idea, Joseph Guthrie. Bring us home, buddy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. So last night, I pitched the idea to the guys on Tuesday. Or Monday. I was like, hey, let's do the Game of the Year draft. And of course, we're like, yes, it's perfect for the season. And I thought to myself last night as I was going through my games, I was like, you know what? I should go through last year's results. I was like, because we did this last year, and I need to know, like, I felt pretty good about myself. And then I watched the episode. And boy, I had some thoughts about some teams that did not turn out well. So I'll go one by one. I'll go through all my picks, all your picks, Chase, and then I'll go through all of Malcolm's picks because to me personally, I think Malcolm won.
Okay.
If we're ranking this based off picking 5 really good games because nobody went 5 for 5. I think I went 0 for 5.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no.
So I started my first round 1, pick 1 was Georgia at Texas. Which for me personally was a great game. It was awesome. But for an average unbiased football fan, that game kind of sucked. You had all the trash being thrown on the field. Carson Beck didn't look great. Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning at one point saw a ghost. Like that game from an unobjective fans base, like viewing experience was not the best.
Oh, we were together for that game.
We were.
Yeah.
We were. So you got to
crammed
see
in a bar, in Knoxville after Tennessee beat Alabama.
Yeah. Greg got to see me in full-blown, full fan mode in public, which is an experience.
It is. Yeah. It was.
My round 2, pick 2, was Texas versus Oklahoma. Texas won that game 34-3.
Yeah.
Oklahoma was dead in the water in the Red River Shootout. That was not even competitive at all. Third pick, Notre Dame at Texas A&M, which I feel like is a game that a lot of people forgot about last year because it happened in week 1. 23-13 Notre Dame, kind of a snooze fest.
That game
kind of a snooze fest. But boy, it gets better. Pick 4. I had some blind confidence in Florida State last year, man. Clemson at Florida State. Clemson won 29-13. Florida State was just a rolling ball of garbage throughout the course of the year. So that pick just could not have been further from the mark. And my last pick that I boldly claimed would be a prequel to their rematch in the Big 12 title game. Neither one of these teams made the Big 12 title game, by the way, was Kansas State at Oklahoma State. And I quoted myself saying, this is Mike Gundy's conference now. Before Oklahoma State proceeded to just fall off a cliff with Ollie Gordon. I still don't know how that happened. I don't know what went wrong. But, boy, it is not Mike Gundy's conference. So, yeah, Kansas State won that game, by the way, 42-20. So, my closest game was a 10-point margin, and it was Notre Dame beating Texas A&M. So, I could not have been any closer to negative numbers in terms of picking.
Mike Gundy's conference will live about for a week now.
I mean, dude, I said it and I almost closed the browser because I was like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. And I was like, oh, that's me. That's me. So needless to say, you and Malcolm did significantly better than I did. So Chase's round 1 pick 1 was actually a game of the year. Ohio State at Oregon, regular season, 32-31, went back and forth. Will Howard, just like the momentary lapse of judgment to slide when time ran out, like that game was incredible. So it lived up to the hype. That's probably, if you ask anybody about games last year, got to be in their top 5. Your round 2 pick 2 was gross.
Okay.
And not from a fan perspective, but like the weather. Jackson Dart went out. You had Georgia at Ole Miss. Ole Miss won that game by 18 points.
Yeah.
That game was just ugly. The weather was bad. At one point, Austin Simmons came in. Georgia looked like they were seeing ghosts. It was just not great. Your third pick was great. It was a good game, and it was really great for you because you picked the third Saturday in October, Alabama at Tennessee. Tennessee ended up winning that game. I think it was it a last-second interception that closed out because they were down, but Alabama was down by a touchdown and trying to drive. They won 24-17. Tennessee did. But brother, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh boy,
I wasn't the only one that made some claims. Okay,
oh boy,
this is Mike Gundy's conference. It's not. You know who else's conference it was? UCF. And brother, you had some confidence in UCF. Your fourth pick. Utah at UCF.
Oh man, I believed in that one so hard.
Looking at that game, I think the records were 5 after the game. Utah went to 5-6, and UCF was 4-7. Utah won that game 28-14. Cam Rising did not play, and it was just that was just gross. It was just gross.
I'm sure I said something along the lines like this will probably be for the Big 12.
I mean, you had a lot of faith. In UCF, like a lot of faith.
3 running backs.
Yep. KJ Jefferson, like
you really sold yourself on the Gus Bus last year.
I sold myself on the mercenary approach.
Yes. Fun fact. Do you guys know where Gus Malzahn is right now?
I did. On the couch?
No. He's the offensive coordinator at Florida State.
He is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got Castellanos.
Got Thomas Castellanos. Yep. Got Deuce Robinson from USC.
It does make them more intriguing.
It makes them very interesting because the Gus Bus is trying to leave Tallahassee, but we'll see. Who knows? But your last and final pick, I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. This was just a blowout. The score doesn't look like a blowout, but if you watch that game, it was never close. You had Colorado at Nebraska. Nebraska owned that game.
Yeah.
If you watch that game specifically from line of scrimmage play, Colorado never had a chance. But you did better than I did. I think you went probably like 2 for 5.
Yeah.
The Ohio State Oregon was incredible, and then Alabama Tennessee was also a really good game.
Yeah.
It was one score. It was tight the whole time. Like good game.
I got carried heavy by one. Great game. I got one of probably the top 3. I thought
you got carried by that game, but Malcolm probably won with his round 1 pick 1.
Oh
yeah. Malcolm picked Georgia at Bama as his round 1 pick 1, and that was the game of the year.
Probably was,
that was incredible. With the Ryan Williams last second touchdown, Bama wins 41-34. His second round pick was Michigan at Ohio State.
No, it was.
It was. Which, I mean, from a ball perspective, wasn't really great, but it was more like, how the hell is this happening?
Yeah.
Because you gave some precursors of storyline.
Yeah. And that was one of them. And we all in unison sat there and said, Ryan Day cannot lose to Michigan again. And then he did. He also followed it up with a national title. So, he's fine. But the narrative carries on. You can't lose to Michigan again, dog. His third round pick, also a very good game. Like, I think he probably went 3 for 3 in the first round.
Yeah.
In the first 3 picks. He had USC and LSU.
Oh,
in
that was a good
Vegas,
game.
Which was a really good game. 27-20, USC ends up winning with like a last second touchdown. His fourth round pick was a blowout. It was Colorado at Arizona. We all thought that game was going to be like 56-52. We were really high on Jed Fish and Noah Fafita and Tet McMillan, and Arizona was just not good this year.
Was that like a late Friday night game?
I think that was a Friday night game.
I feel like I stayed up for that. I was like, I can't wait
What
for
was-
this game.
Yeah,
What was the score? It's like 28-7.
34-7.
Yeah.
Oh,
Colorado blitzed Arizona.
Wasn't close.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't have the stats, right? Do you have anything pulled up?
No, I,
Okay,
did,
was
I
gonna say,
just did
feel
final
like that
scores,
was the
but
first
like,
time I realized Tet and Noah were going to
Fafita.
be like they're going to be stars, and I think Tet did have like 125 plus yards, but he was the
Yeah.
only thing they had. And you're like, oh yeah, you can't do this.
yeah,
college
yeah.
football.
Watching that, you're like, if Noah Fafita's not throwing the ball to Tet McMillan, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Like they're not moving if Tet McMillan's not catching the ball.
yeah.
So, and their defense was also not great. But his last pick was Tennessee at Georgia, which was a good game for
You.
about 3/4. Yeah, it was a good game for me. It was not a great game for Tennessee fans, but started out strong.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's better than some of the games we picked. Listen, it's better than Mike Gundy's conference. Okay,
Hey.
it's better than the Gus.
You're
Yeah.
trying to go out on a
UCF.
limb. I see you.
So like, yeah, Malcolm, in my opinion, won this thing in kind of a landslide.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think
Oh,
he
yeah.
went. I think he went 4 for 5, or at least 3 for 5, depending on how
3
you
for 5
view
and amazing. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
three-
the worst. you
3
can do.
for
That's pretty
5
good.
and the game of the year.
Yeah.
So like,
no
yeah,
doubt.
shout out to boy
Carry.
Malcolm. He crushed it. I'm just planning, better every day. If I can go 1 for 5 this year, or 1 for 3 this year, I'll take it. So slow improvement. I'm not going to be reaching on Florida State this year. I will go ahead and spoil it for you guys. They were not anywhere close to this list. So yeah, no more. I'm done with DJU. I don't know why I ever believed in DJU.
Not
yeah.
a big
So that's
Castellanos guy either.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Did
He was
you,
fun at
did you go
Boston
anywhere
College
close
last
to
year.
the Big 12?
No,
I was going to say
I did not.
I have one that it's a maybe.
I'm going to enjoy that conference for what it is, and that's anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday, and Texas Tech is spending a shit ton of money. So that's kind of where.
So is Kansas.
I will say that Texas Tech made me rethink because I think if I did not have my UCF last year, I would be so hardcore on Texas Tech because they're doing the exact same thing.
Mhm.
It is but they're spending more. It's just the mercenary rule with a bunch of guys that I've watched 4 or 5 games from.
Mhm.
And you keep up with some ball. You're like, I know he's a good tackle from Incarnate Word,
Yeah.
but that's all I know.
Yep.
And so I'm like, but they're going to be good. They spent so much money, and it's just the mercenary effect. But I will not fall for that Texas Tech.
Nope.
I thought about, but I was like, no. We're
Not again.
staying away from Big 12.
Not again.
If you think you know the Big 12, you don't know ball.
Yes. Yep. Because listen, looking at the Big 12 and looking at Arizona State should be great. They should contend for that title game. There's a very realistic possibility that at some point they're like 5-5.
Yeah,
And
everybody's like,
that's
well, they're
not a
bringing
shot
back.
at Arizona State. That's just like I don't know what
It's
this
the Big
conference is
12.
going to be.
There's they have 4 people all at the same level of favorites because every site was like, hey, good luck.
Don't know.
We don't know either.
We
Bet
don't know.
this if you want to.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
And 39% of their offense has gone to where did Cam go? Where did Scatabo go?
New York Giants.
New York Giants.
Giants.
Yep. Scattaboo is a giant.
He kind of
He's not, but
kinda-
he's a giant.
You guys
gotta-
better be
Sorry.
careful.
I see what
Sorry,
you did
Cam.
there.
Sorry, Cam.
The guys in Tempe are going to get you too.
dude. They're coming
gonna,
after.
They're going to put the diary of one ticket memes.
They
on you.
literally have the pitchforks. To
Yeah. Coming
I,
after Drew.
yeah, I didn't know a Trident was going to go after Drew, but
Don't worry, man. Whenever we decide, Oxford's coming for me. Okay, and I'm gonna stand my damn ground. Okay,
you better get them
Yeah.
feet planted.
I'm ready.
Those rednecks are coming, brother.
the feet gonna be chopping. We ready to make some moves. Like I'm gonna.
I can't wait till you're on some Jackson, Mississippi radio station.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be incredible.
It's gonna be
So.
awesome. All right, what's this year?
So for the format this year, we kind of condensed it down a little bit. Same results or same like kind of criteria we did last year, where it's like it's bigger games. You get bonus points for storylines. We didn't really do the wild card this year, but if you want to be creative and throw in the wild card, nobody's going to tell you no. But we reduced it down to 3 games. So we're going to pick 3 games. The order we're drafting in, it's going to go Chase, then me, then Greg, then Drew, and we'll snake draft. So it'll go to Drew again, and then and then Greg, and then me, and then Chase. And we'll all pick 3 games. We're going to try to – we picked 3 games, and we picked contingency games. in the hopes that we don't all end up picking the same game. So we want to try to cover a wide basis here, cover a wide range, and we're going to give a quick synopsis on what we think why the game's going to be good, what had it catch our eye, and without further ado, Chase, you are first up, brother.
Kick us off, big dog. Come on, CG.
All right. I'm going to go pretty chalky here, and I think we start out early. We start out hardcore. We go, depending on your poll, 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3. We're going to go Texas, Ohio State. We're going to go Texas, Ohio State. Start off. The arch effect is going to be full on running. What's saying going to be compared to what they had last year? Jeremiah Smith's supposedly the best talent we have seen at wide receiver in a long time, which is crazy to think because it's coming from Ohio State, who just produces wide receivers just at whatever cost, however many they want. Even guys like we're like, oh, he'd be pretty good. Like you think Jackson Smith and Jigba's gonna be like just pretty good in the NFL. No, he might be really good. Chris Olave might be really good if he just played for a better team,
or he stayed healthy.
If he stayed healthy is a big part for him.
Put that man in bubble wrap.
But yeah. So the narrative, and I'll be honest, it also just confirmed this because there was a couple others that I want that I don't think are going to get back to me. So I'm like, do I take one of those early? But take the chalky pick. That's how Miggy got the dub last year. So we're going to stick with that because,
you got to take the home run pick.
What can we do to change Big Noon to like Big 7 p.m.? But I don't know. But I just want that to be later. But I'll take it for what it is. It's going to be awesome.
I mean, I don't know what's stopping us from doing Big Noon kickoff and the game just being at 7 anyways. Like College Game Day does that. College Game Day goes, they do their show, it ends at noon, the game's at 7.
Yeah.
Fox could do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that.
Yeah.
So they want to dominate the early window.
I understand.
Or steal the 3:30 slot. It's not there anymore.
Now you can.
Yeah, CBS is kind of, I mean, listen, if you're contending with CBS, like, some weekends you're going to have to fight tooth and nail because Michigan State at Purdue, brother. Like, you telling me you're not just like chomping at the bit?
Well, I mean, as Chase put down in the group chat, Purdue, the most touchdowns thrown in all of the NFL.
Have you guys seen
by
that?
colleges?
I mean, that's that. Okay,
Drew Brees,
you got one.
I didn't know
you got one.
Drew Brees, and I didn't realize they had Bob Greasy.
Bob Greasy, another one. Yep.
Yeah, so they have the most ever in the NFL.
Yep.
And they had some other guys that they were older. Lennon. There's a couple other guys that I just didn't really know who they were because they're like 40s, 50s probably. But those two, Greasy and Breeze, just
skyrocketing them.
Dude, nostalgia is a hell of a drug because they are not going to be good this year. So
they are not.
Hold on to that. Hold on to that if you're a Purdue fan.
Hold on ahead for the Boilermakers.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Joseph,
man, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it feels like kind of a reach, but the more I thought about it, because I had this game I picked as my third pick, but the more I thought about it, the more I liked it as my first pick. And, man, I already know what you guys are going to say to me because I believed in him a lot last year, and I think I went 0 for 4 picking LSU. I went all the way to week 11. LSU at Alabama. I think both of these teams are going to be very good. If I'm not too concerned about Garrett Nussmeier's patellar tendonitis right now. I hope I'm wrong on that, and I hope I'm right on that, it doesn't end up affecting him. But I think this game could be incredible if both these teams live up to the hype that they could, because that Alabama roster is incredible. Their biggest question mark is Ty Simpson, and I think while Ty Simpson, he won't wow you like Jalen Milroe. So if you're putting Alabama on a sliding scale, their ceiling's probably not as high as it was last year, simply because there were games that Jalen Milroe could just take over. But I also think their floor is not as low as it was last year, because there are games where Jalen Milroe could literally be the reason you are losing, like the Oklahoma game specifically.
Yeah.
That game and the Georgia game, to me, are the sliding scale for Alabama last year. Like, this is what you can be, and this is also what you can be. So I think you condense that a little bit with Ty Simpson. Somebody fits the system that Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb want to run a little bit better. And I trust the rest of the roster. So throw that on top of a quarterback that I like a little bit more in Garrett Nussmeier with LSU, who's made some good additions in the portal. They're going to have a solid offense. And Blake Baker year 2, I expect the defense to be building upon what it was last year and be better. So I think this game could have shades of 2019 LSU at Alabama. It's not going to be the same because it's not Joe Burrow versus Tua. It's not. but shades of 2019 LSU versus Alabama. So I went with that as my first overall pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
We know when LSU and Alabama get together and both are really good, there's nothing like it in college football.
No.
Not like traditional rivals per se, but two teams that have just been so stinking good at the same time that they've come up with like basically their own rivalry of, oh, we're both should be 12-0 this year, and we're only one of us can go 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
And I think finally, you mentioned 2019. This would be the first year that I would look at LSU's roster and say, okay, you guys can actually compete with Alabama again. Now, I know Bama wasn't great last year, first year of DeBoer, but this is the first year where you could get one of those games again, or LSU
Well, didn't LSU beat them in Saban's last year?
They beat him in Brian Kelly's first year.
Yeah.
That was the overtime.
Yeah,
Mason
the
Taylor
overtime.
catch.
Yeah, Mason Taylor. Yeah.
I think that was that Jaden Daniels.
Is that 20,
that was
2022
or 23?
I think it's 22.
It's
I looked
something
at this
like that.
last night, but I think it's 22. I'll double check.
Because
to
23
confirm.
was his last year. That was the year
Yeah.
where he was the best
Yes.
ever.
I knew it was one of those 2 years.
Yeah. I'm talking mainly from like a roster standpoint.
Mhm.
Like I think this is the first LSU team. Like Daniels was really good, don't get me wrong, but this is the first LSU team that's got like that probably since 2019 that's got like real like star potential. They've got the depth back. I was looking at their roster I also picked this game, so I'm kind of jealous. But yeah, they've got the roster. I hope you're right about Nussmeier, because it'd be a real shame if they wasted this team. And Nussmeier's they have to go 8-4 because he's not healthy.
Yeah, and it's really going to be, I don't want to say spelling doom for Brian Kelly, because I don't think like you should go out and fire him if that's the reason that they slide back this year is because Garrett Nussmeier just couldn't stay healthy. But like it's really tough because it's just another reason why LSU was great at some positions, and because they weren't at others, it held them back again, like the Jaden Daniels teams. So,
yeah, especially with them too, if they can get guys to just, I mean, especially on the defensive side, there's talent there. They just have to have guys play better. Perkins is a big part of that.
Yeah,
Perkins was, possibly early first round guy going into last year, and then you're like, dude, he just didn't show the effort. Now he is still talent-wise, somebody's going to take him in the first round, most likely. Maybe late, though. But if he's somebody that's like, all right, I got my act together, let's do this right. And now they're back in the top 6 in the blue chip ratio again. Like, all that stuff matters. Like, these guys, there's so much talent there. And this matchup, and I think we talked about it previously in the SEC prediction pod, like, dude, this Alabama team could be almost a mirror image in some capacity of like Ohio State last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ty Simpson can just be really solid, make good plays and just throw the ball in the freaking chest of your wide receivers. They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like that's all you have to do.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the photos of Jam Miller from last year to this year, sweet Lord, that dude is bulked up. So good luck tackling Jam Miller. That looks like you couldn't pay me to do that. That man, his arms are fucking massive, dude. So saw that on Instagram today. Good luck with whoever has to hit Jam Miller.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to pick 3, huh? Shall we?
Let's do it, buddy.
Okay, so when it comes to games of the year, obviously this was a big one last year. So I'm going to kind of go legacy-ish pick. You had it last year, and it hit pretty damn well. I believe it was you, based on what Joseph just said. I'm going to go Bama versus Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard one to pass up. 2 really good programs. Everything Joseph just said about Alabama, put it towards this game. You talk about some of the most dynamic playmakers in all of college football. Zachariah Branch now with Georgia, and then obviously Ryan Williams with Alabama. And 2 teams, Georgia's always good defensively. I know Alabama was a little iffy last year, should be really good again defensively this year. You got 2 new starting quarterbacks that have been in their respective programs for, a couple of years now. And guys coming into the year, now that we sit right now, maybe lack a little bit of confidence. And we'll see when they play each other in week 5 where their confidence level is, where both teams are. Tennessee will have already played Georgia at that point. So they'll have gone through that test. So it'll be an interesting game. And obviously I always feel like Georgia and Alabama is a good one. You got to get Alabama at some point, Joseph. You got to get them at some point.
Yeah, and that's the thing going in. I think a few episodes ago, Malcolm and I did like the biggest game of the year for each team, and Georgia versus Alabama. That's Georgia's biggest game of the year. Like if you lose to Texas, you got them twice last year. If you lose to Florida, you've beaten them a few years in a row now. If you lose to Tennessee, same as Florida, you've beaten them a few years in a row now. Like Alabama is the one team that you've been better than a few times and just have not beaten. So to me, this is a must-win for Kirby. This is the biggest game of the year for Georgia. I think this could be the best you'll see Georgia look all year because I think they're going to put that emphasis in the players that this is you got to beat Bama. And I sat here and said that on this same show last year when Malcolm picked it. I was like, this is the biggest game on Georgia's schedule. If you lose to Texas, you lose to Texas. It is what it is. If you lose to Florida, if you lose to Tennessee, it is what it is. Like, not saying you want to lose to those teams, but you got to beat Bama.
This is dumb.
You got to beat Bama. Like, you have to.
Especially this year.
Yep. Because you've got to shake the it's all mental for Georgia. Because I think last year kind of proved that it is with them losing to Kalen DeBoer. And it's just an edge thing. Because Jalen Milroe looked the best he looked all year in that game. And he was never able to ascend to that level. So it just tells me it's a mental edge that Alabama has over Georgia. And you've got to shake that. You have to shake that, especially with Texas being here now, them recruiting the way that they are. All of a sudden, you have another player. So if you want to be Georgia and do what you've been doing over the past 4 years, you've got to be able to beat Bama. And also, from my fan take, you won't get to see them again for 3 years after this year.
That's right.
Yeah. Because you'll miss them in 26 and 27. You won't play them again until 2028. Yep. So you need a parting shot where you can be like, let that cook.
Extra motivation for Kirby and the boys.
Yes.
Yeah, especially how much parity we might have in the SEC for the next 3 or 4 years on who gets second and first. You know, it's going to be kind of wild, I think.
Not to mention that after this year, the playoff format's probably changing.
Yeah.
So you also have that coming. That's going to shake up the sport in terms of how many playoff spots are available, what record gets you in, how good your schedule is, so on and so forth.
You'll see some coast. All right, you're up,
Drew. Here we go.
2 picks.
Man, Alabama, Georgia was my number one. Man, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
You just know it's going to be a good game, but that's okay because now I get to pivot and do my weird little games that may not end up mattering at all. But hey, if they do, they're going to be really fun. Boomer bust picks here. Number 1, my first pick is going to be Florida at Miami in week 4.
Oh,
yeah.
Very interesting pick.
So let me kind of set the stage. Florida comes off an LSU game 1 week before this, and Miami plays Notre Dame week 1. If both teams win that, they have 2 other cupcakes. I think that both teams will likely be looking to play 4-0, and I think a win like this gets you into the top 5. I would guess, unless there's, I could see where they're like 6 or 7. But this is really a game where we get to find out a lot about both of these teams, both these programs, and and a lot of the players that we haven't really gotten to figure it out yet. Like, is Carson Beck? Is he actually pretty good? Did he have a bad year at Georgia? Is DJ Lagway going to show up in these games that actually matter? Never seen that before. Is Billy Napier? Can he do it when it's on the line? Never seen that before. I think this is going to be a really, really fun game if both teams are 3-0. Now, Florida could walk in here and be 2-1 and get the brakes could get beat off of them. This could be a terrible game. But Florida-Miami has not been like a thing really ever. I mean, like, I went back and looked. Like, the in-state just isn't there. But, I mean, and they played back-to-back years. Miami embarrassed Florida last year. I mean, that game was over the second it started. Cam Ward looked like he was playing, he turned the sliders to rookie. I mean, that was Cam Ward last year in that game. I mean, Cam Ward was out of that game before, I think, the fourth quarter started.
Yep, he left late third.
Yeah, I see Florida with some motivation here, and I see 2 teams that could start 4-0 and set themselves up for – Florida still has a gauntlet after this. Miami – not as much. Miami has a gauntlet, and so does Florida. Sorry, that was I had that cross. But yeah, I think this is going to be fun. It's at Hard Rock. I think the in-state will play something, and it's just going to be so much discovery.
Especially from the Beck standpoint too.
Mhm.
That's where I wasn't sure. It's like this. I mean, there is still a pathway, especially because Beck at times has been the best quarterback in college football. There has been small moments where you're like, shit,
He's pretty damn good, and he's also on a very good team. He
Yeah.
was on a very good team.
Was on a very good team.
Yes.
Again, I don't know. Like Restrepo's gone. Like what is it? 60% of your wide receiver production's gone now. It's like who knows? I don't know. And Cam Ward clearly special talent. But Lagway, lot to prove still. I think he's got the big upside. You know, he might wind up being the best we got. But Beck went down there for a reason. Like this might wind up in some capacity being the best quarterback matchup we have.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I don't know if you're going to see two. Be careful when I say this. I don't know if you're going to see two quarterbacks that have already done something that face off this year go against each other. Now, Lagway obviously has a lot to prove, but he was really good with a mediocre Florida squad.
What did they finish? Like 4 or 5-1 the end of the year?
Yeah,
Is that
with him up there?
They finished 8-5 overall.
Yeah,
they won their bowl game.
He went.
He went like 4 or 5-1 the last 4 or 5 games of the year. 5 or 6 games.
Beat LSU, beat Ole Miss,
Mhm.
the two highly ranked teams.
Yeah.
Like they finished really strong. With
Yeah,
Lagway.
you ruined the party for Ole Miss.
Yes,
you did.
big time. They could have gotten to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So for me, this checks all the boxes, but it has that bust potential, and I think Miami could also be not very good. I mean, I think they could get blown out by Notre Dame week 1, and then this game is just like kind of a footnote in where college football is heating up going into week 4.
I could see that, and not to give like a preview of the game, but I could see that Notre Dame Miami game being kind of like, if you look at the score or the box score, it doesn't look like a blowout, but there was never a chance for Miami.
Notre Dame controls the whole thing.
Depending on like
agreed.
Notre Dame literally just bullied them for 4 quarters, and they only won by like 14 points, but they bullied them for 4 guys. Not saying that's how it'll go, but I could see that realm. And this game's huge for the state of Florida because somebody needs to ascend as the recruiting power in that state.
Absolutely.
Because right now the recruiting powers in that state are in other states.
Yeah.
You got Georgia, Alabama, LSU. You got kids pulling from Florida, pulling kids out of Florida, and it's not any of the 3 big schools in Florida. So somebody needs to ascend and place the crown on their head and be like, we are the school in Florida. And with Florida playing Miami, Miami playing Florida State, Florida playing Florida State, you get this kind of round robin. Who's the king of the South? Like, somebody, please ascend.
Yeah, we thought it might be Florida State.
We thought it would.
Yeah.
After 2023, we thought this is going to be them. Like Mike Norvell's here.
Yeah.
He had the really good season. And even if you follow it up with like 8-4, but 2-10, man, is just
2-10 in the ugliest football
Brute.
fashion.
and
The give up. The give up was
that's the thing, is it's not like you just got riddled with injuries, but like you watched that team and they were just there was no fight. There was no fight in them, and it's just like that's just so uninspiring as a fan. I feel like it's uninspiring as a recruit. So hopefully Florida State can rebound, because I want somebody in the state of Florida to be, I'd prefer it not to be the Florida Gators, personally, if my bias is coming out, but somebody needs to ascend and take the throne in the state of Florida. So
I'll say this too. That is, I mean, things can happen, numbers can change, but right now that is by far the best matchup. Like that opens that door to be a huge game. It's like that being the premier stage, and they want this rivalry so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One thing I don't want, do you guys remember the Florida-Tennessee game that was like game day? It was like they were both like 6-5 or something. I don't even know whether it was like 3-2 or something crappy at the time. And it was, I think the final was like 13-9.
Ew.
Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible. And we had all this hype, and it was like, why are we hyping up 2 mediocre football teams as much as this? And so I don't want that to be this.
Yeah,
but I that's where I can see your path.
That definitely comes into play here. Definitely both teams could walk in 2-1 and it not mean as much.
But also, if you have a couple mediocre teams playing each other, sometimes it could be a good game.
True.
You have two teams that are
They don't
sort of
have to be
on the
undefeated.
same level.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be like top tier. I'm so sorry. I
You're
almost knocked your microphone into you.
You're
Yeah, you could have. I'm getting a little animated here. My arms are going everywhere. But yeah, you could have a couple of teams that are kind of mid-tier or average, and it could be a great game.
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
there
you
were a
don't
couple
have
of
to have-
games with that were average teams that
Mhm.
ended up. It was like BYU and
BYU,
Utah, or
BYU
something
and
like
Arizona
that last
State
year?
was
Yes, that was
cinema
it.
last year.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And like the early
Yes.
ending of the game, and they had to clear the fans off,
Mhm.
and Kenny Dillingham's like throwing a fit. dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that game was cinema towards the end. So yeah, for sure. It could be, which at the time, that was like Big 12 title implications. But
Mhm.
it's two teams you watch, and you're like, this is fun. They're good teams, but neither one of these teams is going to win a national title.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter because the game
Doesn't.
itself, like it spoke for
Could be.
itself in that window of time on that Saturday. It was
Yeah.
incredible. So
Let's take a quick timeout, full timeout from the episode here. And let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. A local Chattanooga staple since 2016, Barra's Cabinet Refinishing has been your go-to spot for custom cabinets in the scenic city, with owner Alan Barra having 25 years of experience. From cabinet refinishing that breathes new life into your existing cabinetry to cabinet refacing and modifications that transform and optimize your space. The people over at Barra's simply deliver the goods, just like your boy Kirby Smart, Joseph, on a Saturday, as they give exceptional results tailored to your exact needs. So, for a winning team that's always got your back in cabinetry, trust Barra's, the official sponsor of Chatted Up Sports. Head over to their website, barrascabinetrefinishing.com, to get your free estimate today. And if you mention Chatted Up Sports, our guy Alan will hook you up with a 5% off your job. Do it now. Thank us later. Barra's Cabinet Refinishing, the official cabinets of Chatted Up Sports.
Drew,
All right, back to you, Drew.
Don't worry, we'll get to Arizona.
Snake it
State.
back.
We'll get to Arizona
Oh,
State.
boy.
Okay.
Bring on the pitchforks,
All right.
baby.
All right, I have two options I can go.
The tridents, whatever they are.
I honestly don't know if either of these are going to get taken, so I'll do my first one because it's the one I want more. All right, week 3. Neither team has a bye coming up before this. I looked at this, I couldn't believe it was a real matchup, and just because I think it's going to be so much fun. Clemson at Georgia Tech week 3 is going to be a early season clash.
I love that pick so much.
It's
I
gonna
do
be
too.
it's
Dang,
gonna
I
be
had it.
so fun, dude. I can't tell you. I mean, I can't tell you how interested I am to watch this game. If this is Dabo's return to form, then this is something that he's going to have to get over. Like I've mentioned a few times on this pod. Clemson got let into the college football playoff last year. Yes, they took care of business and locked up the automatic bid, but
If Miami didn't lose,
yeah, they tripped their way into the
Yep.
playoff. And if this is Clemson's return to form, then it's time to start beating teams like this. Georgia Tech's good, don't get me wrong. They did lose. They lost Eric Singleton. I mean, that is going to hurt. I don't know in their offense if it matters as much as if say Clemson lost
Yeah.
him or Georgia lost him.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
whatever. They're bringing in 6 transfers to start. That's always a little hairy at these programs. And my last thing that I really think about this Georgia Tech team, Georgia Tech is basically Vanderbilt of the ACC. A little better than Vanderbilt, but always considered the little brother of the state. Now they have recent success. They have a quarterback you can root for. This could be while not as impactful, this could be their Alabama. Even though they did beat FSU, but that doesn't look as cool because they went 2-10.
It feels like, and follow me here, it feels like Brent Key's teams play like the way Mario Cristobal wants his teams to play.
Yes.
Like the physicality that
Yeah.
Georgia Tech played with last year. It feels like every time you hear a press conference with Mario Cristobal, whether he was at Oregon or Miami, and like what he talks about and how he wants the team to play. I'm watching some of these Miami games and some of these Oregon games. I'm like, that's how Georgia Tech plays, dude. Like, you want to play like Georgia Tech plays. You want to play like Brent Key gets his team to play because they're going to fight you until you kill them.
Yeah.
They're gonna punch if they're biting your ankles, dude. They're gonna do whatever
Dan
they
Campbell.
can. Yeah,
Biting
whatever they
kneecaps, biting
can
ankles.
to make this hell for you for 4 quarters. And I think that's what a lot of people fell in love with Georgia Tech last year. It was just the fact that they're like, you may beat us, but you're gonna earn it. and you're not going to have fun doing it. We're going to make sure you don't have fun doing it. So
No doubt.
That was basically the epitome of what the Georgia Tech game was last year.
yeah, it was. That game was torture. That game was torture.
Exactly. It's like you don't want to be in this type of fight, but you are.
Yeah,
and you ended up winning, thank gosh. But
I mean, dude, I've never experienced a win that felt more like a loss than that game, dude. Like 8 overtimes. Just a mess.
Wild.
And that's Haynes King. Doing
Absolute dog, dude.
Unbelievable things against that defense. That's the scary part. And that's why, I mean, I love it because I think the matchup is like, I think Clemson does have some more physicality. I mean, you have 2 guys that are probably going to be in the top 5, maybe 3 guys, the top 7, 10 right now for the NFL draft. But the physicality can just beat you up in different ways. And I think Georgia Tech's a little bit older. I mean, Haynes King's 30 going out there. So it's like he's just bigger, stronger, faster.
Another thing to note is that Georgia Tech on national television, pretty comfortable. Not especially. They don't really shy away from the limelight. Was that
at home too?
Was that Georgia? Was that Georgia Tech game on SEC Net? No, it was on. It was on ESPN.
I think it was on ESPN last year.
Yeah. Georgia Tech. They feel pretty comfortable in big time spots that you've seen. This team, although they're starting 6 transfers, they have a lot of the same guys there, and they have a lot of consistency. And I don't know. I just think this has all the makings of like, because should Georgia Tech win this game? No chance. No, they should not. But can they, with the way that they play and the way that they have proven time after time on national television they can play? Sure. Yeah.
I will say this. It gives me a little bit, because some of these lines are already out. For people to already think they're less than a 10-point dog gives me a lot of comfortability, because Clemson, back to the fun words of like blue chip ratio, Clemson is drastically ahead of Ohio State or Georgia Tech. And I just see this Georgia Tech team. I don't know. Like maybe I'm just falling into the Pate trap and all these other guys, but dude, there's just something about them after that Georgia game that we're all in.
Something to believe in.
Yeah, there's something to believe in. I mean, I think it's
Journey said it. Don't stop.
I think Pavia wants to be Haynes King right now. I think there's a belief.
A little side eye.
Hang on.
Shots fired.
Yeah. You compare it to Vanderbilt, not me.
Yeah, we'll get to the Commodores too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Greg?
God,
you are back up to bat, sir.
Man, I cannot. I'm a little surprised that this game maybe hasn't been taken, and I'm kind of surprised you didn't take it, Drew. You're talking about 2 teams facing each other with quarterbacks that have already done something in college football. Week 1, we've got that. Grant Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik. LSU and Clemson, baby. LSU at Clemson. You guys have just talked all about Clemson and how they're trying to be back on the come up, and Dabo's gotten, he's using the transfer portal, he's doing these things. I was reading up a little bit about Grant Nussmeier and what Brian Kelly had to say about him, and it's the first time in, I think, program history I read today that LSU is returning a 4,000-yard passer. So, I mean, dude threw 25 touchdowns, 12 picks. I get it. He's probably going to be a little bit better. They expect him to be at least in the contention for the Heisman Trophy this year. They said he's come back with a lot of muscle on him. Brian Kelly called it another layer of armor on him. Again, 2 really good quarterbacks. We expect a lot of Cade Klubnik, a guy who could potentially be a Heisman candidate himself. Drew, you'd mentioned it about LSU with the depth and everything that they've done. And we know Clemson's obviously, in the top 5 as it sits right now. So this is a top 10 matchup. And right now the point spread is just 4.5. So like they're expecting it to be a close game. I expect it to be a close game and a higher scoring game potentially with those 2 quarterbacks at the trigger as well.
I thought it would be gone. I didn't think it would make it.
I'm surprised you didn't take it.
I didn't write anything down about it. I didn't. I mean, I know the 2 teams, but I don't know where the game's played. I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't want to snag it. But that's
all good.
Yeah, man. That's
just 2 really good games week 1.
It could be pretty much not a carbon copy, but it could be fairly the same as LSU USC last year.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Klubnik is not that he's a comparable quarterback to Miller Moss, but he is a comparable style quarterback to Miller Moss. And, I mean, a lot of unanswered questions on both sides. You get to figure it out week 1 on national television.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game for the true Death Valley.
True.
Tigers.
It's in
Battle of the Tigers.
it's in Baton Rouge, but it's a game for the True Death Valley. Somebody gets bragging rights until these teams play again. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I too wonder, because I guess this would be, if Clemson loses, this will be Dabo's 5th loss in a row, I believe, to the SEC. I believe that's what the status saw. But then
I'll
either
double
way,
check that. Hang on.
and if Brian Kelly loses this game, and it looks, because that was kind of my thought when I was looking at this game earlier, is what if it's exactly like USC? What if it's kind of ugly? You can A, not score, or B, you can't tackle again, and you're back to the same thing. That's going to smell early trouble, early terrible narrative for Brian Kelly. That sucks. And they're already doing the fun stuff with, well, John Gruden wants to coach the SEC.
Yeah. Does he beat his hand on the table and say the same thing again? And we're sitting here again. If they lose that game,
Do we
2
double
years in a row.
fist?
Clemson beat Kentucky and South Carolina in 2023.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I thought it was something. There was something like that. I don't remember.
probably like 0-5 in their last ranked matchups,
Maybe
because
that's what
South
it
Carolina and Kentucky weren't ranked.
Yeah,
last year.
that's what it was.
Because
yeah.
their ranked matchups against the SEC, they played Georgia last year and lost, and then they played South Carolina and lost, and South Carolina was ranked. They played Texas. Texas was ranked and lost. So they are 0-3 in their last 3 ranked matchups.
Yes, that's
versus
probably what it
SEC
was.
teams.
Yeah, it's probably ranked matchups versus SEC. This is big for both these coaches.
Yeah,
huge.
Dabo wants this bad, and I think he's tired of the narrative of like we fell into the playoff. He's like, we're good enough to be in the playoff, and you have 2 studs on the edge, and you have probably the best quarterback in college football. I don't know. A little weird.
One of the best. One of the best.
Yes, probably the best. I think him and Nussmeier are like the 2 NFL guys right now, with Sellers doing this. But
I don't know if Sellers is
talk.
eligible.
This is just talk. This
Yeah,
is
well,
like
I mean,
listening to
reason I
pods.
don't think he's in the same is I don't think he's eligible for the NFL
Yeah.
after this year. I don't
Yeah,
think.
it's because he was
DJ
traded.
Lagway is not eligible.
DJ Lagway is not eligible
Yeah,
either.
true
No, I think
sophomore.
Lenoris and
I think Lenore
No,
is.
Lenore says this year.
Is
I think he is.
Okay,
Yeah.
was
Because
he there?
I saw a mock where he was like looking to go to the Raiders or something. You know,
Yeah.
right now.
Of course.
Gosh, don't give those guys that. Genty and Sellers.
Oof.
Nasty.
The or the triple option. We talked about the Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor triple option.
Oh gosh.
Genty Sellers, and you just throw.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, sure, yeah. You can have him. Oh gosh,
I mean,
you can run the flex bone. It'd be great.
I love it.
bring John Gruden back.
Oh,
John Gruden's going to LSU, bro.
Yeah,
think
true.
he's-
LSU? He's going to LSU?
Maybe.
That was the funny. I saw a couple of those
Mhm.
photoshops today. Because did you see the speech he gave at Georgia?
Oh yeah.
So he gave his speech at Georgia, and he's like, "I'm jealous, sitting over here on the sideline. I want to beat Georgia." It was a very weird spin of a story,
Yeah.
but he eventually got there. He was like, "I'm jealous of you guys because you guys are the nightmare." You know, he put that emphasis on there.
Mhm.
So I don't know, tough spin, but I saw where he was going. But now everybody knows he wants to coach in the SEC. Clearly, with Kelly being potentially out,
hot seat.
hot seat. No more fake Southern accent. And it's John Gruden. And as somebody who fell in love with the Gruden process,
Mhm.
I get it. And if LSU hops on that train, there's be a lot of apologies because they made fun of us a lot. All right, you're up, Joseph.
All right, so I went a little bit earlier in the season than my first pick, and I went to week 6, and I picked a team that our boy Drew here has showed some love to. I picked Texas at Florida. So this to me is a weird spot because, and I think it's what's going to play into the narrative of the game. So Texas opens with Ohio State. Depending on how that game goes, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to lose to Ohio State, especially if you play close. Like, you get it, you're starting Arch Manning, first year starting quarterback. It's on the road against the defending national champion, or well, the team that won. Well, it's not the team that won the national championship, but the remnants of a team that won the national championship, and still has 2 of the best players in college football in Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. But after that, Texas just goes ghost with their next 3 games. They play San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. So Texas is going to fly under the radar. Well, they won't, because if Arch throws for 4 touchdowns in each of those games, they're going to be plastered all over. But even though they're playing collectively, no disrespect, a couple of lower tier teams. Then they hop on a bye week. Florida also hops on a bye week. Florida could be in a really weird spot here because they're coming off what they should be 2-0 after beating Long Island and South Florida. They take back-to-back road trips to at LSU and, like Drew talked about, at Miami. If their season plays out the way I think it will, I think they're going to lose to LSU, and then that Miami game is going to get really interesting. If they happen to lose that game to Miami, they get a week to regroup, and you got Texas coming in, man, and you can reset your whole season. DJ Lagway hadn't been so hot to start. Florida's kind of hit some bumps. You're 2-2. 4-1 Texas. 4-0 Texas. 3-1 Texas. Still highly ranked. Coming to the Swamp. The biggest game in the Swamp in the last few years. Florida's going to have a lot to play for. And Texas has to take a road trip. Arch's first SEC road trip. So I think that game has all the potential to be incredible. Texas absolutely destroyed Florida last year. I think they'll remember that. I think Florida will have a lot to play for. I think this is going to be an incredible game. Incredible game between Texas and Florida.
The Arch going into the Swamp part is...
Dude, I mean, it's like... And I know people say, well, yeah, he's going into the shoe. He's playing Ohio State. It's like, I know, but that's week 1 for Ohio State too. Like, you're not a quarter of the way through the season having to take a road trip to Ohio State where they've kind of established themselves a little bit. They're not fully where they want to be.
Well, they are coming off a national championship as well. So, like, there's going to be a ton of buzz in the shoe.
But a lot of pieces from that team are gone.
That's true.
Including starting quarterback. I mean, you're bringing back Jeremiah Smith, and that wide receiver core is going to be really good. But
I mean, both environments at the end of the day are going to be really difficult to play.
They are. But if I had to pick one, like Ohio State fans, like you were just on the mountaintop. Florida hadn't been there in a while.
Yeah,
Florida's hungry. I mean, look at the way they were for the Ole Miss game last year. Now imagine it's Texas. That's your preseason number 1 team. They could still be number 1 at that point in time. If they beat Ohio State, they probably will be because I don't think they're going to lose those next 3 games. Even if they lose to Ohio State, they're probably, 4?
Oh, yeah.
Depending on...
I mean, that's...
Been on the Clemson LSU game.
Depending on... Yeah, they're probably... If they lose to Ohio State, they're 5 at the lowest. At the absolute lowest.
Can I give you a peak potential this possibly too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially at this point of the season?
For sure.
We're talking about if everybody wins out, let's say Arch is what he's lived up to, Lagway is what he lived up to. What I mentioned about Miami, like you could have back-to-back weeks where Lagway just outduels Beck.
And Nussmeier.
And then you have him coming in. Everybody's like, this guy's as special as we thought. Now he's going against the golden child.
Arch.
Well, you've also got the narrative of like say they both play out that way and Florida's 4-0 and Texas is 4-0. And we already heard what Archie said about Arch. He's going to be at Texas for 2 years.
Exactly.
I mean, that's your 2027 number 1 overall pick battle. Probably.
The first.
Between Lagway. Yeah, that's your number 1 overall pick battle between Lagway and Arch Manning. Like who's going to win this?
Especially if Lagway has what it feels like a little less talent, so he's going to have to be Superman. It's like if Lagway's turning into that at this point.
Yeah.
Dog. To watch Lagway go against probably the second or third most overall, NFL talent ready defense. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be, it has all the makings to set up to be an incredible game.
That is the ugliest campus. I hate that place so much. That came over me. I'm so sorry. I hate that place. That stupid blue and orange McDonald's. I would go out there with a sledgehammer right now and I would smash every brick of that place out. I hate it so much.
Don't let his Tennessee fan discourage you, Florida fans.
No, great,
it's just
great,
fan
great game.
Out.
But God, dude, I hate that place.
You know the last time Texas went to the Swamp? Does anybody know the year?
1948.
Got to go back further.
Oh shit.
1933.
1940 was the last time that Texas went to Gainesville.
Wow.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, they've never been, or they haven't
in the
been
modern
since
era.
then. In the modern, or like in the wearing helmets era.
They're wearing leather helmets at that point.
I mean, like like Arch's great-great-grandfather. He was probably still alive at that point. I mean, like seriously, that matters though. Like
Yeah, no, it
none of
does.
these
It
Texas players, unless they've been a transfer from another school, have ever experienced it, but they haven't experienced it as a collective unit. Like it was all sunshine and rainbows when they won 49-17 last year. But now you get to go and you go to the Swamp, which I mean, I'm sure you can tell us, Chase. You can just put it down as a loss. Like you hope for a win, but as a Tennessee fan, you're like, we're going to the Swamp.
Yeah.
Darn.
Not going 12-0 this year.
They literally could pull out like middle schoolers and be like, dude, it's going to be a tough battle down there. Like we could have 100% blue chip ratio, and we're going to go face the Dayton City schoolers from down the road. Can go in there and dress in Florida uniforms and be like, dude, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It's going to be a little iffy. It's going to be a tough day.
Malcolm Harris got pee thrown on him.
Pee thrown on him?
That is,
God.
That is so Florida coded, dude.
It's so, yeah, they're in
So
Georgia.
Florida
They're
coded.
cut off tanks, all greatly tanned, still in October.
Roasting a gator.
Yeah.
Florida man.
Yeah. Be Florida.
All right, Chase.
All right.
Bring us back around, Chase.
Okay, so those were some of mine. Dude, I feel like we're all kind of like on these same teams. A lot of the same ones, but I don't want to go there. I'm gonna go a little bit different just to break the rhythm up, and I'll come right back to one of our teams we love. I'm gonna go Oregon, Penn State. I know. I knew if I didn't take it now, it'd never come back. Oregon, Penn State. I think this year has to be Penn State's year. Has to be Big 12 or Big 10 rematch, Big 10 championship rematch. And I think it's going to be a little slower of an Oregon team. You know, we're losing wide receivers left and right, is what it feels like right now. And, you know, disciplinary injuries, all that stuff. So this is going to look a little different for Dan Lanning. And I think that plays into the favor of a Penn State. But I do think that Dan Lanning's one of my favorite coaches in all of college football, and I think he's one of the best. So this is going to be one of those, like, just back and forth. I don't think it's going to be the Big 12 as we know it, high scoring back and forth, but I think this is going to be like a nasty, awesome 24-21 game. And both of these teams, I think this is their chance because, you know, you got to rely on a lot of newbies in some capacity for Ohio State. So if you guys want to take the next step and you want to redeem yourselves as from both of these teams from Ohio State dominating you again, this is your matchup. You got to win this one to get to the next one.
Yep. That's also Penn State's whiteout game.
Oh, that's right. That is their whiteout game because
but it will
we can do
probably
better
be
than
at noon.
Washington this year.
Yep. Unfortunately, it will probably be at noon.
Yeah.
But because it's the same week as Georgia, Alabama. That's a loaded weekend, by the way. That's week 5.
That's 5.
You got Notre Dame at Arkansas, Alabama at Georgia, LSU at Ole Miss, Auburn at Texas A&M, Oregon at Penn State, and BYU at Colorado. The BYU at Colorado one's kind of fallen off a little bit since Jake Retzlaff has dipped to Tulane, but still.
To my lovely family, I would like to say that do not disturb Saturdays. Do not disturb.
DND.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I guess Aller's still, to me, I don't know. Maybe I just don't have as high a belief. I believe in both running backs. I will say that. I think if they did upgrade even a little bit on the wide receiver, it can't get worse.
Trevor Penna is supposed to be like somebody that they think's really going to escalate them at receiver. He was really good at Syracuse last year. But, like, how good, and we talked about this, like, last pod of the pod before, like, how good is better than last year for Penn State at the receiver position. So
what are y'all's thoughts? Like, where do you guys, I mean, I think Lanning helps escalate any team, but do you guys still have belief Oregon can win it all?
I don't know if losing Evan Stewart really sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think DeCorian Moore is going to be really good. But losing Evan Stewart and the leader in that room for the wide receivers is going to be tough. I think Oregon will be really good, but I don't know if they're good enough to win it all. Well, it's tough to say that because, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, Oregon might backslide just a little bit from last year. But looking across the landscape of college football, it's like there's no team that really just looks or sounds head and shoulders better than everybody else right now. So in my head, my default answer is no, I don't think Oregon's good enough to win it all this year. But like, if a lot of these teams that we think are going to be really good don't hit their ceiling, then Oregon might be good enough to win it all this year. So I believe in Dan Lanning, but I don't know. We'll just have to see.
You believe in the quarterback situation?
I have positive hopes for Dante Moore. I think he should have went to Oregon to begin with. I know at the last second he flipped and went to UCLA. I didn't think that was a good idea. I think Dante Moore will be good, but I don't know if he's good enough to carry them this year. Because I don't know if right now he's better than Dylan Gabriel was last year.
Yeah, and
I think his ceiling can be higher than Dylan's.
Yeah, losing Gabriel is also a major factor into them maybe not being ready to win it all.
Yes. It's a big leadership factor
Yeah.
because Dylan Gabriel's played a lot of football. A lot of football. So
Yeah. Uyalongo is your stud this year. I mean, like you're going to be good in the trenches again. Which that matters so much in college football.
Mm-hmm.
It matters
so important.
A lot.
I mean, we saw it all over the league last year.
Yeah, it matters so much to be good up front on both sides, but I don't know. There's so many question marks. And again, it's just the power of the Oregon. You're gonna give me those sweet, awesome silver jerseys one weekend. I'm like, I'm back, baby.
Green helmets.
They're gonna win by 30 against somebody I don't even care about. But I think it's gonna be a fun one. I think it's gonna be a closer game, and you guys got to win that one to get to the big boy. And I really do want this one for one of these programs, especially like what Ohio State's done. I think I have already a little fatigue, and they just demolished my own team and made my team give up last year. So I hate them. There's that one.
Really quick, can I do like a minute and a half on James Franklin? Maybe
please.
Less than that. He's got to win this game. I'm gonna, because if he's not gonna beat Ohio State, which it doesn't look like he's ever gonna do it, and that's fine. You know, some guys just have teams that they can't beat, and Franklin is a very talented head coach. He is a great recruiter, a wonderful motivator. If you're not gonna beat Ohio State, then you just got to get every other one, and that is exactly what he's got to do. Like, just start beating Oregon. Just like, okay, we'll mark it down. We'll go 11-1 every year, and it'll be good enough to go to the conference championship most years, and you'll go to the college football playoff. But if you just can't win big games at all, then like a program like Penn State, and you have seventh-year Drew Aller, like it's time for you to beat teams that should be good, but they also have Dante Moore, or they should be good, but they're a little limited with Will Howard. Like it's time. Like it's time for James Franklin to ascend a little bit up as a coach, or it's. I think Penn State could look for more options.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to give you the stats on? Can I give you a little stats to back up your James Franklin take? Because I'm with you. James Franklin has got to prove something because he has not been able to do it in big games. We talked about this last pod. Overall record against top 10 teams at Penn State, 3-18. Against top 5 teams, it's even worse, 1-18. He's got to win the big game at some point if he wants to continue on at Penn State like you're talking about. At a certain point, you cannot allow this guy to – or you can't sit there and say, if you're the brass at Penn State and say, this is the guy that's going to get us a national championship, because clearly he hasn't been able to do it. He's had plenty of opportunity with some really good teams, and he hasn't been able to do it. He hasn't been able to get it done.
This is by far your best chance to get both your –
yes, if not
your
now,
stars, your North Stars here. You're like, hey, I got to beat Ohio State. I got to beat Oregon. Like, I have to.
If you're a Penn State fan, would you rather beat Ohio State or beat Oregon?
Oh, it's Ohio State.
Ohio State.
It's Ohio State, right?
It's not. I don't even know if that's close.
Yeah, I'm with you. And one of the pushbacks against that when people bring up James Franklin record is like, well, how many of those games was he favored in? It's like, okay, that's fair. I understand. But being favored isn't everything. That's just where it starts. It's like, you need to be able to win a game that you're not favored in. You need to be able to upset a team. And I don't know how much I feel about, well, he wasn't favored in those games. Okay, if he's playing at Ohio State and the line's 5.5, dude, you get like 3.5 points for home field advantage.
Yeah.
So like that's less than a field goal that they're favored.
Yeah.
I don't like the excuse like, well, he wasn't favored in those games. Okay, if he wants to ascend and Penn State wants to be taken serious, because Penn State's a really good team. But there's a difference in being a good team and being a actually can win a national championship, an elite team. If Penn State wants to seriously be taken as they could win a national title, at some point you're going to have to, if you're Penn State, because you play in the Big Ten and they just added Oregon on top of Michigan, who's coming off a pretty solid run, and Ohio State, who's there every damn year, you're going to have to beat somebody that's favored over you. You can't just keep mucking up and demolishing the rest of the Big Ten, who on occasion has some good years, like Illinois, teams like that are going to be good this year for Illinois. You've got to ascend and beat a team that's favored over you by 5.5 points. You have to. Otherwise, you're just going to be 10-2 Penn State, and you're just going to play third fiddle in the Big Ten every year. And those two teams ahead of you are going to rotate between Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon.
All right, quick break. Let's give a little love to one of our sponsors, Steel City Brand. If you're from Pittsburgh or just love that blue-collar grit, Steel City's got you covered. Literally. From vintage sports tees to iconic Berg designs, their gear is bold, local, and built to last. If you happen to be in the Pittsburgh area, check out their stores locally, or more simply, head to their shop online, shopsteelcity.com. To rep the Steel City in style and use promo code ChatItUp15 for 15% off your online order. Steel City, built with blood, sweat, and steel.
I mean, that's how you get to be a powerhouse program. You beat team. You think Kirby Smart was favored the first time he went against Nick Saban? Probably not. Probably not. I'm not gonna back that up. I refuse to look at it. But I mean, probably not. Like, that's how you get there. Like, I feel like Penn State, year in and year out, is always thought of as second fiddle. Like, here's Ohio State, here's Penn State, and now here's Oregon, right, another notch above you. Like, and it's just, you have to eventually.
Yeah.
You can't make the excuse. And if there's somebody better out there for the job, then why wouldn't you move off Franklin?
Yeah.
You give it him 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been over 10 years since he left Vanderbilt.
And I think where your head's at there with Kirby and Alabama was in the right spot. You're just on the wrong side. The last 5 times Georgia and Alabama have played, Georgia's been favored. Alabama's 4-1.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the difference. And that's where the argument for James Franklin for me he wasn't favored in any of those games, it kind of falls apart, because as a fan, I've sat and watched my team be favored and get beat. And it's like, no, you can't just leave it at, well, he's not favored. He has to elevate. If he wants Penn State to be taken seriously, he has to elevate. Nick Saban did it with Alabama against Georgia. Kalen DeBoer did it in his first year. They were like a 2.5-point underdog at home. That's like a 5.5 point on a neutral field. Guess who won that game? Alabama. Like,
Ryan Williams.
I'm just like, I get tired of seeing he wasn't favored. It's like, that's not the end all be all for these games, dude.
It's not. Especially like you mentioned, it's probably 5.5. And I mean, honestly, if you want to go back, look how big of an underdog Michigan was. Look how many times they've not been favored in the last 4 games. Like,
23.5 points last year.
23.5.
23.5.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, oh, well, that's the game. It's like, you're
game.
one of, you're an Ohio State rival.
Yeah.
Well, it's one-sided because they've been beating the shit out of you.
But Penn State doesn't have a bigger rival. There's no higher mountain for them to climb. It's not like, I mean, it's not like with I guess with Michigan and Ohio State, where you can go on, you have to win that game. But, Michigan can go beat Michigan State, and then it'll still be a rivalry.
Yeah.
Again. Who else does Penn State have?
They don't play Pitt enough.
Purdue?
They don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't play Pitt enough for that to be a thing.
Yeah. And you can't build that now. I mean, unless it turns into Oregon.
I mean, for the people in the state, it's probably a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
But national relevance, I don't know how much somebody in Alabama cares about Pitt versus Penn State.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I mean, I kind of get, for me, I guess, I don't know. I guess Alabama fans look at Tennessee as a true number 1 rival, but it's almost the same thing as Auburn.
Well,
I mean, to an extent, but I think it might actually be a little bit more favored for Tennessee, because I think there's a lot of Bama fans that are older. They're like, Tennessee's as close to me as Auburn.
That's the key right there. Is it's older Alabama fans who remember times where Tennessee did to Alabama what Alabama's done to Tennessee
exactly
recently. And don't get me wrong, Auburn, the Iron Bowl is that is the game for Alabama and Auburn fans.
Yes.
Like that's the game. But you have the third Saturday in October. It's a named game.
Yeah.
So it has that level of emphasis.
Yeah. And they have turned into that.
My bad. It's all right.
No, you're good.
This is how it happens.
Yeah,
I've been,
no,
stew-
my
I've been
bad.
stewing
Yeah,
on. I've been stewing on this one. I don't know. I'll ask you guys. I don't want to steal it. I can even allocate this right now. Do you guys have Clemson,
No.
a bunch of Texas or South Carolina's left?
I have none of those teams left on my board.
I do.
Okay.
They were up for potential.
Dude,
it's
just
potential.
go for it. Go for it.
I don't know. There's
Pick your
two. There's one.
I've got plenty of other games I can
I
pick.
know.
So
All right. I'm gonna.
take what your heart wants. Your draft.
God, I hate one fan base really bad. I'm not doing that one. I'm going to do this one. No, just kidding. I'm going to do the one I hate. All right, Texas versus Texas A&M. Rivalry week is back. Texas A&M wants it. It's in Aggie land. That rivalry, GT convinced me of how much this rivalry means. He was like, dude, I cannot explain to you having this rivalry back, like what it means to stay to Texas. Texas A&M is the snooty rich kids. They're a little weird. Texas is just big brother to everybody, and this feels like they feel a little bit more middle child than little brother. This is like middle child syndrome for them, and they hate each other so much. And I think now this is again another year of, hey, Texas, this was supposed to be our Texas conference. Like the SEC was supposed to be us alone as Texas team here. You took over that. You stole all the shine. I'm sick of that. Get out of here, Golden Goose. And they could ruin the party. Like that's going to be, going into Florida is going to be rough, but Texas A&M, that rivalry back is going to be so loud in there for Arch. That's going to be really tough. That could move them.
They're at Texas.
They're at Texas.
Yeah, they're at Texas.
They're at Texas this year.
They
That's
were
right.
at Texas A&M last
They're
year.
at Texas A&M last year.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
But
like,
still,
still, either way. And this is going to be one of those that I believe the SEC could be a big shakeup this year. It could be, two wins is probably going to win the conference. I think a lot of people agree on that. Or 2 losses, sorry. 2 losses is going to win the conference. I think that this could be, we have to win this game too. And Texas A&M could be just humongous party ruiners on Arch's part. And this could be, well, he's definitely coming back now because they may not make the playoffs. Because this is going to be a fight for their lives. I think Texas A&M believes they can get in. I like Elko. I think this rivalry means a lot more, and it was a little shaken up last year. And I think they're back. I think Texas A&M, Texas is going to be the perfect season ender. That rivalry week's awesome. I was going to pick like 5 games from there, but
yeah,
I wanted to go something different. I didn't want to steal anybody's pick, so that was one I was very interested in.
Yeah, I kept the same theme for my last pick. I went with rivalry week, but I went a little bit of a different angle. I think one of these teams could be fighting for their life, and the coach potentially could be fighting for his job. I picked the Iron Bowl. I picked Auburn at Alabama. If Jackson Darnold doesn't work out for Hugh Freeze this year, I think he'll get a chance to play Deuce Knight, because if you're in charge at Auburn and you let him go, Deuce Knight's gone. I don't know where he's going to be, but he ain't going to be playing in blue and orange. Well, he might be. Well, no. DJ Lightway's still Florida. So, so I think regardless, Hugh Freeze gets a chance with Deuce Knight next year. But say Jackson Arnold doesn't work out, you end up having to start Deuce this year, and Auburn's like 5-6. Iron Bowl at home. Alabama's really hot. They're playing for maybe a chance at the SEC title game, but they got to beat you. Imagine they're sitting there at 10-2, or they're like 9-2. And if they beat you, they go to the SEC title game. But if you pull one more miracle at Jordan-Hare, you ruin their hopes and dreams, and you keep them out of the SEC title game, potentially out of the playoffs. And Hugh Freeze gets a signature win against Alabama. I think this game could be electric, personally. I don't know if it'll have playoffs.
About that place.
There's something about every other year when they get Georgia and Alabama and Jordan-Hare, It's just witch doctor voodoo shit, man. Like, I've seen it. Everybody's seen it. I can't explain it. You just have to understand. You watch your team play. They look a certain way, and then they step out onto that cursed field at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and you're just like, I don't know who I'm watching right now. But they're wearing our jerseys. They're wearing my favorite team's jersey, but that's not my favorite team playing Auburn right now. Alabama and Georgia fans understand what that's like. I think this game could be huge for Hugh Freeze. Even if Auburn has success this year and they go like 8-4, 9-3, and Jackson Arnold kind of works out, then you really want to that's the feather in your cap. If you can have a decent year, yeah, you're probably not going to make the playoffs, but you went 9-3 and you beat Bama. That's
a really good season.
Huge for the future. And those 2 recruiting classes coming in, Deuce Knight's here, Auburn's kind of, all of a sudden, there's life. Heartbeat starts to get a little bit more hefty for the Auburn fan base. They're like, hey, we might be on the end of a dark tunnel.
We're starting to believe.
We can see the light, man. We see the light just a little bit. But it kind of goes back to what we talked about with Michigan and Ohio State. If Auburn falls off the rails this year and they're 5-6, shit, if Auburn's 2-10 or 2-9 and they come in and they beat Bama,
it's the same thing.
It still feels good, man. Especially if they ruin something for Alabama. Like if they ruin a chance at the SEC title game, or even worse, ruin a chance at the playoffs for Alabama. I think the Iron Bowl is a good game every year, but could be really special in 2025.
Yeah, because that could be that week is just so loaded with man, everybody's gonna be breathing heavy. Because like what if they're all 10-2? What if, Texas and Georgia and Bama, they gotta go play these rivals.
Yep.
They gotta go play home game for Georgia Tech and in the Dell or the
don't even get me started on the
so
Invesco QQQ. Oh God!
Yeah, when did an ETF become?
Dude, it is. Listen, it is clean old fashioned hate. It's always been clean old fashioned hate. It'll always be clean old fashioned hate.
Clean old fashioned hate, baby. That's going to be such a good weekend because there's still implications of, you still got Oregon playing. All these teams that I believe are going to be just fighting for that last spot. I don't know. That's going to be a hefty one. That's why all those teams just have to just hold on, dude. Just hold on.
Rivalry week's going to be incredible this year. Absolutely incredible.
So good. All right, G-Money.
I've been sitting here as you guys are talking about rivalry week, and I'm like, you know what? There's a game on my list of games that's low-hanging fruit. I could take it, but I feel like I've kind of gone big money, big games, big programs, things like that throughout the entirety of this draft. I mean, I could go Texas at Georgia. That would be an easy one. They played last year twice. First game, as you alluded to, Joseph, earlier, wasn't a great game. Then the SEC championship game, overtime, amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing. Gunnar Stockton comes in, and it's more defensive than offense. But Georgia ends up winning, so it was great for you.
Yeah.
But you guys got me thinking about rivalry week. You guys got me thinking about storylines. We love a villain, don't we, in sports?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a man to my right knows something about being a villain and being a little brother to the state of Tennessee. Diego Pavia on the SEC documentary said, and I quote, "We can beat Tennessee literally any given Saturday. They think they're going to destroy us," end quote, Pavia said. And then Clark Lee sort of echoed the same sentiment. He said, and I quote, via the documentary, "I want to bleeping beat Tennessee, and I need everyone to be on the same page. We're not leaving that stadium Saturday without a win," end quote.
Oh, man.
So, for my final pick, with Pavia coming back for your Vanderbilt Commodores, I'm going to take Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt at Tennessee in that final game. Just because the storylines are there. Everybody, Vanderbilt just feels like the little brother to Tennessee. And I understand that being a Mets fan, growing up in New York, growing up in the New York area, the Connecticut area, the tri-state area, being the little brother to the New York Yankees. I understand this feeling that you feel. And maybe they'll do it. But they certainly have the belief and the want to. And I hope, as Tennessee Volunteer fans, as the big brothers, we don't go into that matchup thinking, just little brother Vanderbilt. They're just a little, annoying. They're talking, the whole thing. I hope they don't go out there and just roll their shoulder pads out there and the football and the helmets and all that and the cleats and just say, hey, we're going to go out there at home in the final game of the year and roll them. Now, there could be something on the line depending upon how the season plays out. So they could have something to play for. Man, they're playing Florida the week before that too. So they should be on their game. Should be on their game.
Should.
Especially with Pavia coming back. Vanderbilt struggling against Tennessee in recent years. I'm going to go Vanderbilt at Tennessee. And I'm sorry if that was your final pick.
No, don't worry.
Okay. You mentioned having the Commodores on your list, and I know you're a Vandy fan, but I'm like, you know what? This is too good. You guys got me juiced up about rivalry week. And this game hasn't been a lot of juice, I feel like, behind it for a long time.
Since Derek Mason beat him twice or 2 or 3 times. And he only did it once at Neyland. And that would be what I would caution against with that game. They just are not built to win at Neyland. Like, they're just not. The style that they play, what they do, how much they have to communicate, it is really, really tough at a place like Neyland. But when you run your mouth, people want to come shut you up pretty instantly. And nobody wants to shut anybody up and speak louder than Tennessee fans. So, and I think you would be, if anybody right now in like whatever this gets posted, if you want to predict those two teams' records down below in a comment or whatever you want to do, you can text it to me, email it to me. If you're right, I'll give you $100 because there's no way anybody knows what. I mean, Tennessee and Vanderbilt could walk in 3-9, 7-5. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Or they could both walk in with 10+ wins, and I'd be like, that's a little weird, but I mean, it's still actually plausible for both these teams that late in the year.
Very surprised by that.
Oh, I mean, I'd be shocked. I mean, it's Aguilar is actually that dude. I mean, and it means your defense is the best in the SEC, and it would mean Vanderbilt will also win my last game. Vanderbilt Alabama week 6.
Oh no.
Let me say, I'm going to go and get my honorable mentions out of the way because I'm sure we're going to do them afterwards. But I had Ohio State, Illinois. Well, we kind of talked about Ohio State to death. I had Ohio State, Penn State, talked about them to death. And then I had Georgia, Florida, and we kind of talked about them to death.
Same.
I had Georgia, Florida in there too, man.
Yeah, we've talked about them. Let me say this. This game has the potential to break college football viewership records. Not at the start. No way. Initially, there's going to be very few people watching this game. But if this game is close, get around to the third quarter, start ramping up. I had more people text me last year when this game ended than I had on my birthday last year. I'm like I don't
say something.
Yeah, maybe about me more than Vanderbilt.
Yeah, exactly.
But, this is going to be. It's going to be so interesting because I think it's going to be 48-0. I really do. And it could be an awful game, and I will instantly lose this draft off this game. But if it's 21-17 with Vanderbilt with the lead going into the fourth quarter, I mean, everybody will be watching. Like, can they do it again? Like, everybody in this room will watch. You're what? Well, I'll be already there. But everybody in this room will watch. Everybody who's a SEC fan will be watching to see if they can do it again. Mm-hmm. Is Vanderbilt going to tear down Alabama's goalposts if this gets done? No, but it I think everything's in view. Again, I think it's going to be 48-0. Like, I don't think Vanderbilt's going to score a point. But if they do, and it is a fun game, then this is my. I guess all 3 of my picks are now Boomer Bust picks, which I set out not to do, but. Here we are.
I don't know. I think Florida Miami's I think it's going to be a pretty solid. Yeah, I think that's kind of a safe pick.
Yeah. I don't know. Clemson LSU, pretty good.
Hmm?
Did you have Clemson
Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech.
Now that's a boomer bust.
Yeah,
that could be like, hey, Georgia Tech's doing it again, or like, oh, hey guys, it's 41-7.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Haynes King got carted off. Like
but again,
not good,
there's no more popular.
Not hoping for that.
No. There's no more popular.
Way to put it out there.
Want Haynes to stay healthy all year.
Yeah.
So he's going to stay healthy all year.
Yeah. There's no more popular guy than Pavia, and if he can slay the dragon twice, I mean, infamy.
Oh,
infamy.
College football lore.
Like, well, it won't matter what he does for the rest of his life. Like right now, I feel like he's kind of at like, hey, you're that guy that beat Alabama twice. When he's 40, like, you know, somebody be like, you beat Alabama once. Excuse me, like. Yeah. That's awesome, man. He does it twice. We're talking like
never buying another beer in
book
Nashville.
signings. We're talking like he's going to go on speaker tours, like how I beat Alabama, facing the Giants.
Overcome adversity.
Yeah, yeah. But first he's got to do it, and he has the pieces to do it. Stowers is back. Cedric Alexander is back. They did lose. They lost their one receiver. The problem with this team is they lost a lot on defense from an already weak defense. Yeah, whatever.
Got to outscore them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Score every time you touch.
You got to make Alabama. You got to do what you did last year. You got to make Alabama play your game. Yeah, that's what they did last year. They played that game according to the pace and the way that Vandy wanted to play it, and Alabama couldn't take control. They couldn't outman them. They could not get rolling and get started, and they couldn't apply that pressure that those Jalen Miller Alabama teams did, where they get up on you fast. They were never able to get started against Vandy, and Vandy was able to control the tempo, control that game, and just be like, "You're out of time, fam." So, I hope it's just as good next year.
Me too.
It's just as good.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Do you have any sleepers, G? Like any like honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions. Nobody picked Ohio State, Michigan. I had that on my list. That was another one that was under consideration. Vols at Bama, another obviously good one. The Iowa at Iowa State.
Oh wow,
Cy-Hawk Trophy, baby! Don't sleep on the Cy-Hawk Trophy.
You do love the Cy-Hawk Trophy.
You do.
I just love, dude. I just call
I know
rivalries.
Yeah.
Are we doing like weird games, weird picks?
Yeah. Let's.
I mean, if you got one,
I got a weird.
Before we
pick.
jump to weird games, can I throw out one game that nobody's talked about? We talked about one team, but we have not talked about this game at all, and it's the rivalry game. Because I think I was a year early on the Red River Shootout. I think Oklahoma at Texas this year could be cinema. If John Mateer pops the way that people think he's going to, if Texas is as good as they think they're going to be, I think the Red River Shootout could be fantastic.
I think I would have gone the same narrative. There's like 5 guys that I'm like, man, if they battle Arch, or it's like Klubnik, and another one, I guess the same thing is Sellers versus Clemson, basically.
Yeah, South Carolina Clemson at the end of the year.
I had that on my list too.
That's one. That's the one I thought you guys were definitely. I thought somebody would pick it, and I was like,
I already taken Clemson, so I was like,
we beat him to death. So I was like, probably that's the one I was going to go at the end. I do like that. Yeah.
Okay, now we can move on to.
All right, so my odd one. I'll start with the odd one. It's not an FBS game. It's an FCS game.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay, I love
nice.
And it's I mean, look, it's sort of a low hanging fruit, but it is an FCS game, and it's being played on September 27th. These two teams faced off in the FCS semifinals last year. South Dakota at North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'm pretty sure game days went. They went to South Dakota for.
It was
20. It was like 2018.
Yeah, this game is
Wentz was there or had
is
just
it Fargo?
left.
Yeah.
Is it in Fargo?
It's at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Yep. And
they've been to Fargo once or twice.
It's called the Dakota Maker. Marker is the rivalry, and North Dakota State currently leads the all-time series 65-47. 65 wins to 47 losses, 5 ties, including a 5-1 record in the FCS playoffs. So North Dakota State has owned South Dakota over the last couple of years.
Chase, you going next?
Go ahead.
I can
go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me mention really quickly. Week 2, Arizona State, Mississippi State. When I get proven right, going to be my biggest game of the year. But as far as
my win total, I hope you are.
I have the ticket as well. But my actual weird game of the year is Liberty taking out Kennesaw State on November 29th. The greatest upset of all time in Conference USA, round 2. Liberty ascending powerhouse. Kennesaw State probably trying to survive in FBS by that point in the year. So much fun. I have no idea who's on either team.
Dude, I mean,
and Yeah, I'm going to be watching, though. It's the last game. It's one of the last games of the year. It's on
Yeah,
November 29th.
dude, Maction's like Waffle House, man. You know it's not the most nutritious food, but when you're starving and on a random Tuesday night and you just need something to fill you up, Maction will be there.
Yeah.
It will be there to hold your hand, to welcome you into its warm embrace, and show you a squirrel running from the 10-yard line, and the commentators talking about it scoring a touchdown when it gets into the end zone.
I actually rewatched that, or I watched a video on last year's game in preparation for that because I know I was going to pick it.
Yeah,
and man, so weird.
It was the weirdest game.
They put 1 second back on the clock twice. Yeah.
Maction, dude. Maction is not exclusive to Maction's not exclusive to the MAC.
Sure.
It's just the G5 on a Tuesday night is what we're looking for.
Exactly. Maction is now a verb.
Yes. Yeah.
It's or an adjective, I guess.
Like the Wednesday night CBS Sports, Wyoming at Fresno. Like it's just it's an interesting drug, man.
All right, I'm going to do something. I'm sure you got a great one, but I'm going to do something we talked about not doing at the start. I'm going to go ahead and pick my potential Big 12 championship matchup here, or a chance to win the Big 12,
of course,
because it's the dumbest thing you can do in college football right now. The Utes at Kansas State at the Utes. Utah, I think this is bounce back year. They're too good. They're such a good program. They have to at least get back to 9 wins, which again, that could win your conference. They could still win that conference again this year. And Kansas State, I think we all can buy into a quarterback again. Avery Johnson's back, blonde hair, big, beautiful blue eyes, and just chucking footballs 100 yards. We can all believe in that guy, even though he's probably not that good as a quarterback, but he can run it around. He can do cool stuff, and they're eventually going to get better again. So I think they have to be great this year too, as a 9-win team possibly, because that's what you're going to finish out in the Big 12. Again, another fun quarterback to believe in, bringing his OC. Let's do it. Let's go. Utah versus Kansas State is my very weird game that could win the Big 12 in the second to last week. That's my weird game, because I was like, I'm going to do exactly what I said I would not do, is pick a Big 12 game. So I'm not picking a Big 12 game, but I'm picking as an honorable mention and a fun one.
Chase boldly put down the needle. He's using again. Yeah.
To boldly go where no man has gone before and pick the Big 12. Man. So I've got one that's off the wall, and it just kind of hit me. It kind of just hit me like right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I thought you'd reach too. Okay.
Because this is a reach. This is a big reach. So you guys know, I've made it pretty apparent, pretty clear. I don't have a whole lot of faith in a certain team this year.
Oh God.
That's the Ole Miss Rebels. I don't think they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. And last year they, with a much better roster, I feel much better roster, went 9-3. They've got a team coming to town on September 20th, who some friends of mine are dying to have this guy as their head coach. That's John Summerall and the Tulane Green Wave, traveling to play Ole Miss at Ole Miss on September 20th. They got Jake Retzlaff from BYU. I think John Summerall's a hell of a coach. I know they lost some pieces to the transfer portal, and they got blown out in the bowl game against Florida last year. But I'm riding the Green Wave, baby. I'm riding the Green Wave.
I saw this earlier, and I was like, I think he'll pick this game.
I think they could be. I think that could be disastrous for the Rebs. Early in the season, 4th game of the year. Ole Miss is kind of.
We just add this.
They've played Ole Miss has played Kentucky.
He said this exact thing 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, man. Listen, Ole Miss, they open with Georgia State. They're going to drop 70. Everybody's going to be on the Reb train, 100%. Then they play at Kentucky. Last year, they fumbled that game. Literally. Fumbled that game away. Then they make a trip back home. They play Arkansas. Kind of a sleeper. You don't know what that's going to be. What if Arkansas, you kind of pummel Arkansas, you feel pretty good about yourself, and next thing you know, you're setting yourself up for like a noon game next Saturday, kind of sleeping your way in. And here come the Green Wave.
Here come the Tulane Green Wave.
Give me Tulane at Ole Miss on September 20th to be a banger, absolute banger, because they played a hell of a game last year against Kansas State, and they were in it against Oklahoma, but a couple of plays and that kind of went south, and the game kind of looked like a blowout. But I'm riding with the Green Wave, baby. September 20th versus Ole Miss.
This right next to the Gundy's conference.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, dude? At least shoot or shoot, dog. So, and I shot last year with Gundy's conference, and man, I put the ball in my own team's net. So, I mean, we could not have been further from the truth on this being Mike Gundy's conference in the Big 12. So yeah, I'm doing it again.
Do it again.
Doing it again,
baby. Game of the year draft, boys. We did it again.
We did it again.
Good one.
Good to be a part of it this year.
Glad to have everybody. Much love. Like, subscribe to podcasts literally everywhere. We need the YouTube subscribers to keep going up. 200 up and above. We love you all.
Ferris Cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
Steel City brand.
We were just going to slide that in there.
All that good stuff. We love you guys.
Like, subscribe everywhere. Gundy's conference, baby.